Tonight, new charges just released against Hollywood star Ezra Miller.
It's an option I present people, always.
Hi.
And always just knock you out, and then you won't have to panic.
Right, you just gotta knock
You just
people
let me
out.
know.
Yeah.
No? Yes?
What?
Binary, I don't want to be searched by a man. I'm transgender, non-binary, and I don't want to be searched by a man. I claim my Fourth Amendment rights.
Flash and Fantastic Beasts star Ezra Miller has been arrested.
I don't want to die. I suggest just killing yourselves with your own guns. Okay? Otherwise, keep doing exactly what you're doing right now, and you know what I'm talking about. And then, we'll do it for you if that's really what you want.
Claims against embattled actor Ezra Miller continue to mount.
Learn it? Did you want to fight? Is that to you?
Whoa, I'm sorry. No, you're not sorry. You could have put this thing real quick. But no, why to play the game? I was complying. Well, you wasn't complying. I was. You said get off the road.
Miller says they are seeking treatment for complex mental health issues.
How did we get to this point? With stories and allegations going as far back as February 2020, the story of Ezra Miller has shifted from one of an actor with limitless potential to someone whose self-destructive behavior has led to headlines destroying both their private and professional images. From charges of assault, allegations of grooming, erratic outbursts, and finally, an apology, this is the story of the downfall of Ezra Miller. As early as the 2010s, Ezra Miller was already making waves in the acting world with small roles in both movies and television. Ezra would also star in indie films such as After School in 2008. However, their big break would not come until 2011, where Ezra would star in We Need to Talk About Kevin, where they starred as the titular character, and then in 2012, where they would play Patrick in an adaptation of the popular young adult novel, The Perks of Being a Wallflower. While it seemed like Ezra's star was just beginning to shine with these roles, questionable behavior can also be seen around this time. While not nearly to the extent that they would reach in the 2020s, certain statements made by Miller would offer a cruel foreshadowing into what they would eventually become. With this statement made to Vogue magazine around the time of the release of We Need to Talk About Kevin, Miller stated, "I do get certain validation and gratification from the way people sort of approach me tentatively, with a little bit of fear after they see the film." This would later come back up in 2018 when Miller asked a journalist from The Hollywood Reporter if they wanted to see the bow and arrow from the film and claimed they had it near them at the time of the interview. This behavior is questionable for a number of reasons, the first being the fact that Ezra takes pride in making people fear them for the way they play a character that kills numerous people. With Ezra getting gratification out of the fear that comes from these roles, we begin to see the trend of not only fear, but also manipulation and abuse of power that would grow to plague Ezra Miller in the summer of 2022. With Ezra Miller quickly becoming a mainstream name in film, it was only a matter of time before a studio picked them up and gave them a role that they could run with. That opportunity came literally courtesy of Warner Brothers, as Miller would be cast as the DCEU's version of The Flash in late 2014. It wouldn't be until 2016 before fans got to see this rendition of the character, that being a brief cameo in Batman v Superman, along with another brief cameo in 2016 Suicide Squad. In 2017, they would make their feature-length debut in Justice League, before making another cameo in the CW's Flash show, reprising their role in Zack Snyder's Justice League, and even being slated to lead in 2023's Flash solo film. This is a film that has been plagued with controversy due to directors being dropped and inserted into the film, and release dates being pushed back further and further. Despite the lack of director and delays with the film's release, the biggest controversies of the film was still yet to come. At the forefront of 2022, Ezra Miller was arrested and charged with disorderly conduct and harassment while at a karaoke bar in Hawaii. As described by the Hawaiian Police Department, Miller became agitated at some singers at the bar and began yelling insults before pulling the microphone away from one guest and later trying to attack another person at the bar who was playing darts. 3 weeks after this incident, Ezra would be brought in again, this time for throwing a chair at a woman at a private party, leaving her with a half-inch cut on her forehead. It is believed that at this time, Ezra was going through a mental breakdown of sorts while in Hawaii, and while there has been speculation regarding what could have triggered this, An exact answer has not been revealed and might never be revealed. But from the time Ezra spent in Hawaii, it is clear that they needed some sort of help before things got any worse. Unfortunately, things would only get worse as more information regarding the life of Ezra Miller began to surface. In early 2020, the world stood still as the COVID-19 pandemic began. As a result of the pandemic, many films including Fantastic Beasts and The Secrets of Dumbledore were put on hold. Because of this, Ezra Miller started living in an Airbnb located in Iceland. Ezra lived here alongside musicians, artists, and spiritual followers, that last group being the most interesting, as accounts of the Iceland Airbnb claim how cult-like it felt, with one anonymous woman claiming life there felt like everyone was hypnotized, as Miller paid for meals, drugs, and living within the Airbnb. Accounts elaborate on the living situation by claiming that Ezra would hold speeches regarding spirituality, where they alluded to having spiritual powers. In addition to this, many people living there feared their emotional outbursts as it became clear that they were not stable. Furthering this point, in April of 2020, it was reported that Ezra had an altercation with a fan, which ended with the fan being strangled by Miller.
Learn it? Did you want to fight? Is that the deal?
Whoa, bro.
Later in April, Miller rented several rooms in a hotel in northern Iceland. While in the hotel, Miller began a sexual relationship with an 18-year-old female also staying at the hotel. This gives us more insight with Ezra Miller, as she states that Ezra was super manipulative. They kind of had us all under their finger. They were able to twist and pull everything I thought I knew about the world. In addition to the hotel, along this time, Ezra posted this since-deleted video on Twitter.
Hi, this is Ezra Miller, aka the Bengal Ghouls, the Mad Goose Wizard, and this is a message for the Beulahville chapter of the North Carolina Ku Klux Klan. Hello, first of all, how are y'all doing? It's me. Look, if y'all want to die, I suggest just killing yourselves with your own guns. Okay? Otherwise, keep doing exactly what you're doing right now, and you know what I'm talking about. And then, we'll do it for you if that's really what you want.
This clip also ties back into a later report made in 2022 that stated Miller was on the run and armed with a bulletproof vest, in fear that they were being pursued by the FBI and even the Ku Klux Klan. Staying in 2022, allegations of grooming would be thrown at Miller, with Chase Iron Eyes and Sarah Jumping Eagle claiming that Miller groomed their child Dakota Iron Eyes. As the story goes, Dakota and Miller met in 2016, and Ezra grew a close bond with the 16-year-old child. In 2017, Miller also flew Dakota out to a movie set, where it is alleged that they supplied the child with alcohol and LSD, with the parents claiming that Miller tried to sleep in the same bed as the child. The parents also accused Miller of convincing Dakota to drop out of school and even offered to pay for Dakota to go to school. We can obviously see a major difference in power with this relationship, as the very established and well-off Miller tries to lure this child into their lifestyle and even attempts to make Dakota feel as though they would have owed Miller something if they did go through with paying for the school for the child. Despite the parents filing a restraining order against Miller, Dakota and Miller have been on the run in Hawaii. Dakota's father made the statement that Ezra uses violence, intimidation, threats of violence, fear, paranoia, delusions, and drugs to hold sway over their young adolescent Dakota. In response to this, Dakota released this statement on Instagram in regards to Ezra Miller making statements for them.
Hi guys. Hi folks. I've become aware that some people are saying that my statements were not written by me. I'd like to clarify that they are, in fact, directly from me. Nobody is controlling my Instagram account. I don't have a phone right now out of my own personal conviction. And honestly, it's really distressing that the narrative of the victim is not being granted any trust. I worked really hard to make really clear what was going on. And if the statements are too profoundly contrasting to whatever assumptions those of us have garnered and have chosen to carry, I'd like to say that it's nobody's business and that no one is owed a story or an outcome. This is my life. These are my decisions. And I'm disappointed in my parents and the press in every way.
With Miller on the run, there is no way for them to be served the court-mandated restraining order, but it becomes clear that something is up here. In relation to statements made over film interviews or accounts of Miller in Iceland, it becomes clear that while this is very much a case of someone struggling with mental health, this is also a case of someone who loves power and loves to be feared no matter the age of the person that they get that from. In addition, around this time, Ezra deleted their Instagram account after posting a series of cryptic tweets. But worse enough, it was reported that Miller was still showing up on set to do reshoots for the Flash film around this time, showing that despite the laundry list of allegations against the actor, Miller hasn't faced any real repercussions for the acts they committed. The lack of action here sets a dangerous precedent, as we have seen actors like Johnny Depp being blacklisted for allegations that turned out to be fake. However, Warner Bros. Is still willing to turn the cheek for Miller in the wake of these allegations. So where does this leave us? With everything Miller has done, is it even possible for audiences to sit down and enjoy a movie starring them, knowing what we now know about the actor? The answer to that is we will find out, as The Flash is still slated for a June 23rd, 2023 release. Along with this, Ezra has also released an apology statement regarding the past few years of controversy. The statement reads, "Having recently gone through a time of intense crisis, I now understand that I am suffering complex mental health issues and have begun ongoing treatment. I want to apologize to everyone that I have alarmed and upset with my past behavior. I am committed to doing the necessary work to get back to a healthy, safe, and productive stage in my life." While it is good that Ezra is getting the help that they need, this apology comes off as too little too late. Due to the severity of their allegations, it becomes challenging to accept them as a movie star again after knowing what we know. Related to Miller or not, the upcoming Batgirl film set in the DCU has now been cancelled, with the studio going as far as vaulting the film permanently in the upcoming weeks. Warner Bros. Cited this film was cancelled due to a redirection of the company's strategic vision regarding these films, while Ezra Miller was not directly cited as a reason for the studio's redirection in vision. After all the controversy they have been in during these past 2 years, and with the Flash film slated to be a new start for the film franchise, it makes sense to assume that the studio is losing faith in the film and Miller. The story of Ezra Miller is one that starts off with great promise. However, it turns very, very dark very, very quickly. No one could have predicted how far off the deep end they would end up going, and it is truly horrifying and saddening to see how far down the rabbit hole Miller has gone. And despite what efforts they try to make in the future, their name has definitely been tainted to an extent due to the multitude of allegations as well as the severity of them. Sadly enough, Miller doesn't just affect Miller in the wake of all of their allegations. This Flash film will now have to walk on eggshells throughout, whether it be during the press tour or during the film release. It will be interesting to see how all of this news will affect the release of the film and where the career of Ezra will go from here. But as of right now, this situation remains unfortunate and uncertain for all of those involved. Hey, thank you guys so much for watching. I know that this video was a little bit more serious than my other ones, but be sure to subscribe so that you can catch the next one. I promise it's going to be a little bit of a lighter topic compared to this one. I hope you guys all enjoyed and take care.